I have truly had enough. My blood is on a simmer, waiting to boil over, forming a behaviour where a march on Parliament with pitchforks and torches doesn't actually seem a bad idea. I suppose we have all had enough of this nonsense, and it's time to take matters into our own hands. For far too long, we have witnessed the failures of a Westminster system, a broken political establishment that serves only the interests of a privileged few while leaving the rest of us behind. Both Labour and Conservative parties have led us down a dark path, paving the way for a brutal economic paradigm where the poor and the vulnerable are vilified, intolerance of others is encouraged, and our political leaders tiptoe towards fascism. We cannot stand idly by as our islands are torn apart by division and hatred. The time has come now to rise up and demand change. We must reject the politics of fear and division and instead embrace a vision of inclusivity, equality, and justice for all, but also holding those responsible for taking us down this path to account. Westminster's support for the genocide in Palestine, its domestic exploitation, the cosy relationships with oligarchs, and chronic profiteering at our expense during the pandemic and for years before are stains on our democracy and the trust we place in our elected managers of our civilization. We refuse to be complicit in the oppression of our fellow citizens or the exploitation of our planet. It is time to take a stand against the forces of greed and corruption that threaten to destroy everything we hold dear. The traditional parties that we may have always voted for are at the root of all of this. Look at Rishi Sunak's hate speech that he made last Friday on the steps of Downing Street. Look at his reluctance to call out extremism in his own party. He does not care that his position of high office is supposed to bear a responsibility for all people in this union, not just those that he can cozy up to and benefit from financially. He is not even a one-term Prime Minister. He is only in office to open the doors of dark business for the gain of his wife's family. Just look at all those contracts and licenses with oil and gas producers. Look at the Infosys involvement in Israel. Keir Starmer is not much better. He sabotaged the soft Brexit negotiations. He sabotaged the SNP Opposition Day vote on a ceasefire in Palestine after speaking and, dare I say it, planning a strategy to top the SNP's motion with the President of Israel. Incidentally, why does Labour have so many friends of Israel in its ranks? Why are there not just as many friends of Congo or friends of Zimbabwe? Have you ever wondered about that? Keir Starmer was also a main protagonist in the ousting of Jeremy Corbyn, or at least didn't do anything to prevent it. His values are flawed, and we can see more and more every day now how right Jeremy Corbyn was on pretty much everything back then, and how wrong Keir Starmer has been since taking office and U-turning on all of Corbyn's popular people's policies. Incidentally, did you know that Corbyn wanted to recognise an independent Palestinian state on day one from coming into office? The Friends of Israel put a stop to that one. The two main parties are as bad as each other. They are destroying the reputation of Britain on the world stage for personal gain. They take the food from your table, the money from your pocket. They destroy the institutions that we hold dear and expect you to pay for it from the pocket that they just emptied. We all see this. We all rage against it. And then we all forget it with the next great Colosseum distraction played out to us on repeat by the media that is controlled by the very oligarchs that the Westminster elite cozy up to. They peddle the story over and over again, and then all of a sudden, the weak-minded agree that the Emperor's new robes are so very stylish. So many of you look at this and are in awe of it all, and those that are the ones that brutally shoot down any adventure into positive change, that verbally assault those fighting for something better for all of us. This exploitative paradigm you accept is the paradigm you are leaving to your children and your grandchildren. How can you accept this? We must unite outside of politics, across communities, and across these islands to build a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. Uniting for something better is so very possible. After all, we march in the thousands every week for Palestine. The Free Palestine movement invades and destroys the narrative that Rishi and Keir want you to believe. This is why Rishi wants to stamp out extremism, mob rule on our streets, and why Keir supports him. They cannot control a movement that has woken up and sees through the veil of obfuscation that has hidden dark intent for us for so long. These islands are one spark away from revolution, or one piece of legislation away from fascism. The questions I now put to you are such. Do we have anyone worth the cross in a box who is strong enough to challenge the narrative and to change the paradigm of Westminster? Or will it take more direct action to bring about the change that benefits the many and not just the few?